did have a question I was going to ask before, but now that it was addressed by Steve Baum and also by Tiffany Campbell about how to handle the cohorts now, as opposed to adding the third and the fourth day, my question is, how do you handle the 2 days that we have now? You have the Tuesday, Thursday, which my daughter's in cohort A, and then you have the Wednesday, Friday. Why would it be any different? If we commit to going the 2 days a week, why wouldn't we commit to the 3 days? My question is, it just makes it more confusing to give parents these other options as opposed to what you guys do in general, which is we go to school, 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. and that was our normal schedule. So my confusion is, and I think other parents will be confused too, is to give options to parents and students as opposed to saying, and I don't mean to say mandate because I understand that's kind of a touchy word, but why not just go with the same exact way you're doing it now? So Steve could answer that for me, or Tiffany, either one would be great.
When you address the board, they're not allowed to respond back.
Oh, okay.
So,
this is my first time, so my
yeah,
fault.
that's okay. But we can take notes and have a staff member get back to you. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dana.
Okay. Let's get her. Kimberly Einhoff.
Hi, yes, good evening. To be completely honest, I prepared a written statement. I'm going to go a little bit off of that and just talk about what I heard tonight. I'm pleased to hear that the elementary schools would be coming back 4 days a week, although I still believe that we need to be pushing our back to 5 days a week. I think four days a week is a good place to start. I am disappointed to hear all the discussion about secondary schools about 3 days a week. And if I can, I just want to zoom out for a second, not using the word Zoom as a pun, because I think we are using that word way too much lately. But it appears to me the district's painting kind of a bleak picture of where we're at with COVID. And I just want to for a second, just look outside of that and say, we're in a state that is completely behind. We're in last place. Our state of California education, our kids are in last place. Obviously, that's not at the fault of the district or the board. That's part of just what happened with California. But the current guidelines from the state of California, as I understand, are guidelines. The governor has said that it's safe to reopen schools. The rest of the country has had schools in 5 days a week, the entire school year in some cases. A group of parents and I today called, I think we have 42 school districts in the county of San Diego, and we called and talked to all but maybe 3 or 4 of them. When you use the statistics that the majority of the large percent is in hybrid, the reality is the hybrid, most of them in hybrid are 4 days per week. So it's not an apples comparison. I have a list of every single one that we talked to. Yes, there are some that are 2 days a week like we are, but the vast majority are at 4 days a week. And many of those said they're returning on May 4th or May 3rd to 5 days a week. So we are behind. We are at the bottom of the barrel, kind of to speak. The case rates are very, very low. Those that were kind of presented to me in a bleak fashion, but the reality is, look where we are compared to where we were at months ago. 6 point something case rate is extremely low. And all of these things we're discussing tonight assume that every single kid has COVID and is going to show up to their middle school and high school and spread COVID. But we have all these layers of protection, like you mentioned. We have masks, we have hand washing stations, we have all these protocols in place. A lot of our schools are outside. So the passing, the ingress, egress is outside in fresh air. Again, still with kids having masks on. So we can't assume that COVID's going to spread all over the place and everyone's going to get sick and die. And that's what it feels like we're acting like. And just one last comment about these kids in high school that they may need to work instead. They should be doing schoolwork on their off days, not going to a job. School should be their priority, and they should have enough work to keep them busy 5 days a week, not 2. So please vote for further re-expansion as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Erin Kaminski.
Thank you, Dana, board members, staff, and Chanel, who is my favorite part of board meetings. Good evening. My name is Erin Kaminski, and I am a parent at Twin Oaks Elementary School. And I want nothing more than to be able to send my kids back 5 days a week to that incredibly magical campus. I want to acknowledge that the board has had to make terribly difficult decisions about physical health, mental health, and risks to staff members for more than a year. With some parents advocating for a full return to campus without masks or distancing, and other parents advocating for distance only and everything in between, the board, nearly unpaid true civil servants, the board has been, in my opinion, making decisions with best positive intent for the last year. Balancing safety and learning, I believe they have approached decisions with the love of the kids, a passion for education, and admiration of the staff team at heart. My mom served on a school board for more than 20 years, and I know how much care, thought, and worry went into the decisions that she made. Thank you to our board for putting your faith in the district administration and site leadership teams tonight. Our exceptional SMUSD staff members know what is safe at our school sites. With the support of the board, they know what can happen safely to bring kids back to school as much as possible for the rest of the school year. To my fellow parents, let's please get through the next 35 days by modeling the kindness, caring, and empathy we expect from our kids. Let's assume good intent from all we encounter. San Marcos is a lovely place to live. I look forward to the first day of school in August. We are all so eager for 5 days a week, and I am confident SMUSD will make that happen. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Bernadette Howarth.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. At the March 22nd governing board meeting, President Stacey Carlson stated that our district must change with the state and with the less restrictive guidance. Dr. Campbell promised that the district will provide in-person learning to the greatest extent possible. On April 8th, the district's attorney argued against an injunction and promised that they are actively working on providing more in-person learning. In fact, the attorney said toward that end, the district is negotiating with its labor partners even now, most likely as we speak. On April 10th, a San Marcos teacher made a post on social media thanking her union for the assurance of continuing the year with our current model so that students won't have to relearn a fourth way of attending school this year. The post was accompanied by a smiling photo of herself in her blue SMEA t-shirt, which our children's teachers had worn to school on April 9th, the day after the hearing, posing and posting for many group photos. Was a backdoor deal negotiated on the very day that a lawyer was promising in court that SMUSD is working hard to expand their in-person learning schedule? Parents were shocked and confused by this post, and it went viral among our community. Videos surfaced of this same teacher daring parents to come at her, and the national news cycle picked up the story. SMUSD issued a vague statement of concern over the situation on April 12th, followed quickly by a promise that at the April 20th meeting, the board will review recommendations and a timeline for expanded in-person learning for the remainder of this year at both the elementary and secondary levels. And it was unclear if this was going to be an actionable item or if it was just going to be a presentation, which would be followed by yet another survey to be sent to the parents. One thing is clear, this district is operating in a hostile environment and there are three responsible parties: the union leadership, the complicit administration, and a corrupt board that has a duty to provide impartial oversight in the primary interest of the students. The now famous California teacher rant is a symptom of a much greater cultural issue that is created by these special interests taking over our board and district leadership positions creating a poisonous environment for the parents, teachers, and most importantly, the children who are being subjected to harm beyond their control. To begin the process of correcting this toxic culture, recalls on 2 board members have been initiated. We are holding the district accountable to its promise to the judge to expand in-person learning for all students, elementary and secondary, this school year. We will not accept any excuses, such as not being able to afford purchasing more tables. SMUSD has received over $63 million in COVID relief money. Our legal team is standing at attention and willing to return to court if the district does not abide by its promises to Judge Freeland.
Thank you. Your time is up. Dami Regta. Okay. Dami, are you there? I'm sorry we don't see you. We're going to move on to the next person. Zoe Primash. Oh, no. Zoe, we can't move you over to speak because you're on you're on an older version of Zoom, and so we can't move you over. So you might have to fix that before we can have you come and speak. So we'll move on to the next and come back. Wheezy Madsen. Wheezy, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm a proud parent of 2 kids at Mission Hills High School. And I just wanted to say yes and amen to everything that Kim said, both Kim Burns and Kim Einhoff. I'm wondering, I had a speech planned too for tonight, but I'm wondering why Mondays are off the table as far as instructing our kids. Secondary, I feel like is the most shafted group of kids because I'm not really sure why, but they really need in-person instruction. This hybrid model even still is not great considering they don't get instruction those other 2 days. They are quote unquote asynchronous days where you need to just do work at home. And so in my house, it looks a lot less like work than it did before when we were Zooming all the time. And so I'm just wondering, I know it said in the outline that Mondays are for families to organize their week, but I can just tell you for my part, I don't need Mondays to organize my week. I would really love for teachers to teach my kids in person on Mondays and use that day to teach my kids. And I'm also wondering about protocols, and I feel like if the protocols were changed to reflect CDC guidelines a little bit more, then maybe our classes could be a little bit bigger and it wouldn't be such a big deal if they were 3 feet apart, if they had Mondays to contend with as well. And I'm all for getting the kids in school more, but I don't need my kids to go to school so they can sit in a classroom on their computer all day. Like they can do that at home. I don't need them to go to school to do that. But I really, they miss being taught by their teachers and they really love to be in front of them. And I know that you don't have the power to make all that happen before the end of the season, but I feel like it would be a really good faith thing to do to show them that they actually have something to look forward to next year. Because if we don't do any of this stuff before the year is over, I'm telling you, the kids will feel like nothing will change. I know it says at the bottom of your screen also that, you know, we're going back to 6 periods and full days in the fall, but in all honesty, there's been so much disappointment this year, one after another, with respect to school, especially, that it's just like they need to know that they can count on that in the fall. And I don't think as it is right now that they can. And I feel like this would be, like a good faith token for them to know that they have something to count on in the year to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Grant.
Nice to meet you. I said thank you and move on to the next person.
Jeff, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. My name is Jeff Grant, and my daughter is a student athlete at Mission Hills High School. And I know the board is looking for ways to get kids back into school and to have a higher attendance level, and I think I have an idea. It turns out that my daughter is under quarantine now. She's a basketball player, but she's under a 14-day quarantine due to the rules and protocols that the district has in place. I'd like to express my disappointment and displeasure in this mass quarantine approach. The school district has adopted this one-size-fits-all approach, which is detrimental to students and to student athletes. My daughter is a D1 scholarship prospect in basketball, and yesterday when she received her quarantine notice, she was devastated. She has 4 games scheduled over the next 14 days, but she's being required to stay home, despite the fact that she has a weekly COVID test as part of being an athlete, and she's tested negative. In fact, she even was tested today 2 times for COVID, and we're hopeful that those are going to come back negative. The CDC guidelines provide a provision that for contact tracing and for the definition of contact, and it's not clear that my daughter has even been in contact 6 feet away for 15 minutes with an infected person. So I suggest that the board quickly adopt the CDC regulations regarding what the definition of contact is. Now there are 110 students out of Mission Hill High School on 14-day quarantine because one person has come back with a positive test. At the same time, there are no provisions for the student athletes or anyone to test out of the quarantine period. The CDC guidelines, however, provide a mechanism for that where they can be tested several days in a row and cut the quarantine time in half or less. The school board does not provide for that accommodation. It appears that the current COVID protocol puts the teachers' union's desire to protect the faculty above the interest of the students and particularly the student athletes. I urge the board to immediately reevaluate the current mass approach and adopt a more thoughtful approach to the quarantine protocol, including a test out provision and contact tracing that's meaningful. Just because you're in the same classroom with the person who has tested positive doesn't mean you've been exposed, according to the CDC. In my daughter's case, she should be allowed to participate with the negative test that she took today in the games that are coming this Friday and Saturday based on the CDC guidelines. Stacy, I've sent you a detailed email, which I haven't had a response to. I sent that this morning. I hope that you look at that in detail and see all the detrimental effects that it's having on my daughter and the other student athletes. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. I just want to reply really fast. I did see your email. Dr. Campbell, I know that you had mentioned that you were in contact with epidemiology, and we had kind of, because we are looking into updating when you get that, can you send that out to families and everybody to let them know what our updated quarantine procedures are? We are in the process of updating those.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Sandra Grievkas.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Governing Board and District Leadership. My name is Sandra Grievkas. I'm the parent of 2 SMUSD students and an advocate for public school education and all that entails, even in the middle of a pandemic. It's been about 9 months since the last time I made a public comment at this board meeting. And since that time, 3 new board members have been elected into office. So late, but never too late. Welcome, Mrs. Ahmad, Mrs. Chamberlain, and Dr. Ola. It's been excellent to be able to see the thoughtful and transparent discussion on really challenging and complicated issues along with Mrs. Carlson and Ms. Kerr. And thank you for your continued support and service. Dr. Johnson, who will be introduced later on today, welcome to MSUSD. You are joining an active and school community, and we look forward to your leadership. As the administrator of a Facebook group centered on bringing educators and parents together for this district, I have an unfiltered view to the disparate views from almost 3,000 members. I extend an invitation to you, district leadership and board members, to engage with us as you deem appropriate so that we can work towards common goals above and beyond the existing groups that you have, such as PAC. Dr. Campbell, thank you for all of your efforts. There are no words to express what you have undertaken this year along with your team. Tonight, I feel compelled to speak not on the topics of school reopening faster or the plan for next year or any other important topics on tonight's agenda, but instead to speak to a topic of gratitude and appreciation, especially given some of the recent events. On January 4th, I started a SMUSD team member focused gratitude post asking for families to give a shout out to an SMUSD team member that impacted their lives. That post reached almost 2,600 people. 162 individuals liked or loved the post and 263 comments of gratitude with shout outs to admin, certificate and classified team members representing almost every school in the district. 3 months later, people are still adding to that post. So given the recent events, I felt it more important than ever for the district team and district leadership to hear their names that were listed as having a positive impact on SMUSD students. I hope this brings a smile to your face as I read as many names of those as I can in the short few minutes I have left. I apologize if I mispronounce your names. Thank you for all that you do. Mrs. Haney, Mrs. Jackson, Mr. Salas, Mrs. Ryan, Mrs. Ellis, Mrs. Vogel, Mr. Burns, Mr. Mesker, Mrs. Ogerson, Mr. Wave, Miss Young, Miss Hall, Mrs. Goodman, Mr. Faulkner, Mrs. McCoy, Mr. Glatt, Mr. Guzman, Mr. McCormick, Mrs. Bruce, Mrs. Jacobson, Mrs. Dunez, Miss Hopper, Miss McGuire, Mr. Gruel. I could go on and on and on. There is more than 100. If anybody would like to see this list and the value that they're adding, have no doubt you are adding value. And there are many families, hundreds, if not thousands, that appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Zoe, I think I see you in the list now. I'll let her in. Yeah. Sure, just promote her. Zoe?
Hello? Okay. Hello, my name is Zoe, and I'm a 7th grader here at SEMS. I've come to address some concerns that I have with the current academic influence of the COVID-19 pandemic. I admit that I'm still just a child, and I've been exposed to some very stressful experiences throughout this quarantine, specifically to an educational degree. So please allow me to enlighten you with the student perspective on a life-changing event. The first thing that I would like to address is the hybrid school model that my school currently uses and how it contrasts with the online school method. The first thing that becomes apparent, especially from a student perspective, is that the amount of education we students receive in the hybrid model is drastically reduced as opposed to the online model. Us students are only being taught at 50% of an already reduced online schedule. We are completely self-guided for 2 days a week with little to no teacher support. I have found that while teachers give students academic resources, they tend not to offer enough academic support, specifically on our off day. While teachers are technically teaching 5 days a week, the students are only able to experience half of the productivity of their efforts. I understand that the school is trying to make progress in reintroducing students back on campus. One thing I wish every parent and teacher could understand is the expectations of children on days when they are off campus. We have absolutely no teacher guidance and are expected to teach ourselves material that would typically take years for someone to become qualified to teach. This is a detrimental teaching method, as it not only slows the education of students, but also the mental well-being of kids at home. One of the greatest contrasts with the results of online versus hybrid learning is that the online school was a way to have 5 days of teacher interaction, but no social network. With the hybrid model, students are only offered half of the teacher support as the online-only model and less than half of the social aspect. The traditional school model is the most productive option, and I can definitively say that I prefer this. I would much rather go back to an all-online school model as opposed to a hybrid. There's absolutely no supplement for the knowledge that students gain when put in a situation with people who can guide them. To be honest, it becomes frustrating for me to know that it is possible to return to the most effective schooling system, but that the school board, school district, and union actively chooses not to, and continues to further inflict harm on its students. Our school district needs to get back on its feet as soon as possible and correct some of the wrongs that the students face the brunt of. I ask and beg of the board to allow students back on campus for a full 5 days a week and to understand just how much their actions affect their children, their peers, and their friends. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Dylan Wagner.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
1 second. Sorry about that. Timer difficulties. Okay, please go ahead, Dylan.
Hello, SMUSD school board members. My name is Dylan Wagner, and I'm in 7th grade at San Alejo Middle School. I wrote this because I thought the board would be voting on returning to a 5-day school week, but I'm happy to hear that that is not the case. I would like to read my opinion to you anyway. Although it is a popular opinion that schools should come back 5 days a week, I believe that hybrid is the best option for our district. Hybrid protects our health and safety, gives us free days where we can work at our own pace, and still be socially interactive when we come to school. Overall, my school has over 1,300 students with large class sizes. A student has 3 classes along with lunch with 2/3 of the school if you are in 6th or 7th grade. If one student got COVID-19, over 100 students and their teachers could have to quarantine for 14 days. The lunch situation wouldn't be safe either. Even during the hybrid schedule, I have noticed that it seems extremely crowded at lunchtime. The 3 to a table rule is still being enforced, but there are about 20 to 30 groups of 5 or more students sitting on the ground by the tables, not distanced in any way. If you double the amount of that, the lunch situation would be even more chaotic. One thing I enjoy about hybrid learning is that I can have a learning day at home. I can go at my own pace without any Zoom meetings and have the best of both worlds. Working at home has taught me a lot about independence, which is a very important life skill. It has been common to hear that hybrid and distance learning is detrimental to our social skills. I disagree with that. Over the past 13 months, I've made several new friends and been able to safely hang out with a few of them in person. With some of my friends in Cohort A, I have gotten opportunities to branch out and I've made many new friends. Hybrid learning gives you time to reconnect with others, but also allows you to spend some time by yourself and with your family. I hope you will consider this statement when you are making your decision on whether or not to open up schools 5 days a week and keeping it hybrid for the rest of the year. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dylan. Michelle Peace.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Thank
Please
you.
go ahead.
All right. Good evening to everyone. My name is Michelle Peace, and I am currently the English Learner Coordinator at San Marcos High School. I'm here tonight because I was shocked and very surprised to find out that the English Learner Coordinator positions across the district were being cut due to budget during especially this pandemic year. I have a few weeks left of the job before the position is eliminated, and I still view myself as these students, one of these students' greatest advocates. So I still want to fight for them to have this position, not just at my school, but district-wide, even if it's not me in the role. You may not know, but our schools, our secondary schools have 910 current English learners. That's just the middle schools and high schools. Recently reclassified students in the last 4 years, we have 938. That number is 1,800 students, approximately 6th through 8th grade, who are entitled to a high quality, equitable education. And I know that equity is extremely important to our district since we did just pass the board documents regarding equity. To meaningfully support these students is not only required by state and federal law, but it's also just the right thing to do. During this pandemic, we see news headlines all over the place about English learners and COVID-19 and how it has affected their learning. In fact, schools are being asked to create learning plans to address the needs of these students as they return to the following year, because we have had so many obstacles that they have had to face. One thing that I've thought about a lot lately is that other student groups on campuses have advocates. Special education students have case managers, annual IEP meetings. Oftentimes they have a specialized advocate who comes to meetings to fight for them. There's politically savvy, school savvy parents. We have so many affluent parents in our district who will fight for their students. And a lot of our English learners' parents don't have the resources to do that. I'm here to speak on behalf of those families tonight who don't have the language or don't have the skills or don't have the confidence to be here talking in front of a big crowd. Later, my colleague Tina Hernandez will speak more about the specifics that we do at our sites to support these English learners. We want to make sure their legal obligations are being met and they're getting a fair and equitable education. And I have asked numerous staff members at the district office what the support plan is in place of not having English learner coordinators. And the best I've heard is that it's being handed off to an assistant principal. And if anybody who has worked at a site or knows how that works, we know that they're not going to be able to do a quality job in addition to all their other tasks of supporting these students, all nearly 1,900 of them. So I would like to ask that you consider reinstating the position of English Learner Coordinator for these students. It's, again, just a shock that this would happen in this year and in this climate when they're facing so many obstacles. If equity is truly important to this district, then please do the right thing for these students. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have Karina Sean. She's going to be translating for the next parent, who is Ricardo Ramirez. Ricardo? Ricardo, can you hear us?
Señor Ramírez, ¿nos escucha?
There he is. Okay. Yes. Karina, can you ask him to please go ahead and speak?
Señor Ramírez, ¿ya puede comenzar a hablar? Tal vez tiene su micrófono apagado. Señor Ramírez, ya es su turno. Su micrófono sigue apagado, disculpe.
Is he going to try to re-sign in?
He was having difficulty with his microphone, it looked like.
Okay. So I can move on to the next person, and then if he comes back in, we'll bring him in. So Michelle Garcia. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. Okay, got it. Okay. Michelle, are you there?
Hi, everyone. I'm here. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. So hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Garcia. I currently work at San Marcos High School as a bilingual aide with Michelle Peace. And I just had a little something to say to support the EL coordinator position and Michelle Peace. So it has been an absolute blessing working with someone so dedicated and passionate as Michelle Peace. Without people like her, the students at San Marcos High School wouldn't have the support and resources that they do now. After working with Michelle for the past year, she has shown me the true meaning of hard work. She puts her heart and soul in the work she does to help these students succeed. There aren't many people that have the gift that she has as an English learner coordinator. And without her, I truly believe that we wouldn't be seeing the change and success that these students have been achieving ever since Michelle started working here. And being an English learner myself, when I was younger, having the support and dedication of someone like Michelle means the world for students that are coming to the school or even the country for the first time. And Michelle makes everyone feel cared for, valuable, important, and like we are all able to achieve our goals. Ever since working with her, I have seen so many students feel like they can really accomplish their goals in school. Many of the students that are part of the English Learner Program need someone that can advocate for them and really understand what they are going through. And Michelle is that person that we can all count on to help motivate students in doing their very best. And lastly, I would like to say that before removing EL coordinator positions, please consider the futures of these EL students. Placing this job on another teacher or AP would be detrimental to these students' education. Many do not realize it, but EL coordinator position is just as important as any other position. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Serrano Guadalupe.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'll also be speaking on the EL coordinator position. Good evening. My name is Guadalupe Serrano, and I graduated from Mission Hills High School in 2019. First, I want to emphasize that 3 minutes is not long enough to explain the profound impact that the EL coordinator and Ms. Hernandez, the EL coordinator, Ms. Hernandez, and the EL program has had on me and others. I did not imagine myself attending Cal State San Marcos studying childhood and adolescent development in order to work in a classroom. If you ask me, if you asked me in August of my senior year where I saw myself after graduating, I would have said the United States Navy. However, I fell in love with the classroom. I owe that to Ms. Hernandez in the leadership class. At the end of my junior year, I was asked to be a part of the first set of students to be in the leadership class. For those who do not know, the leadership class is a class where students serve as in-class tutors for EL students. In my case, I was in Ms. Farah's biology class. As shown in the leadership rubric I provided to you, the board, students that are chosen have shown mastery of the material, are bilingual, have good social skills, and the class fulfills A through G requirements. During my time in the leadership class, I learned what it is to be a leader and felt like I made an impact on the education of my students. The leadership class is special because I did not just serve the students, but Ms. Farah and Ms. Hernandez. Leaders function as a bridge. We facilitate the communication between teachers, students, and Ms. Hernandez. We give a voice to the students and help them be a proactive member of their education. Furthermore, the class gave me a unique opportunity that no other class at Mission Hills High School has to offer. I was allowed to showcase my leadership skills. My teacher entrusted me to help run experiments and projects alongside her or even in her absence. Students were responsive to my instruction. Ms. Farah and I were able to reach more students. The struggle of all teachers is trying to reach all students, especially when there is a language barrier. The leader's ability to translate and model good communication skills helps ease attention and creates connection that is needed to keep students interested in class. By the end of the semester, my students showcased interest in class and became advocates for themselves. And I like to believe it's about the work that we put in as leaders, teachers, and the EL coordinator position. Ms. Hernandez plays a valuable role in instilling confidence in the leaders. We would meet up and discuss the struggles that we were facing and the strengths that we were seeing in each of our students. She does an amazing job in making us feel loved and valued. She motivated students and leaders to do their best and was a source of support. Today, I'm a tutor at Grizzly Stepping Up, and I see the amount of work that Ms. Hernandez puts in to making sure that every EL student and tutor gets the support that they need. I want to leave you with this. You are a new EL student at Mission Hills High School. You are introduced to Ms. Hernandez and her team. You are told that she is there to help you. She's checking in on you and providing you the support that you need. You recognize her as your biggest supporter. You come next year, she is gone. How would you feel? As a former EL student, I can tell you that I felt angry, confused, saddened, and overall displaced in the system. I was back to square one. Thank you.
Thank you. Araceli Resendez.
Sí, buenas noches. Yo estoy hablando por la coordinadora de ELD. Yo entiendo que quieren quitar a la coordinadora. Como madre y ciudadana de este país y miembro de esta comunidad por más de 26 años, sé que es un derecho de tener a alguien que represente a los estudiantes y a nosotros los padres que nos gusta involucrarnos y que tantos estudiantes que están en la transición del idioma y siento que es necesario tener y contar con una persona como la señora Tina, que está trabajando en la escuela Mission Hills. Y como les dije, en mi carta que mandé al distrito, donde padres como yo tenemos estudiantes que les ha afectado emocionalmente con esto de la pandemia, que muchos han pues quedados en casa y pues en mi caso, la maestra nos apoyó tanto a mi esposo y a mi hijo para que él pudiera ser ayudado y apoyado por las nuevas alternativas que es atención psicológica. Así que, y pues también puedo mencionar más eventos de los cuales ella se involucra como a dar becas, a recaudar fondos, participamos los papás para que pueda haber fondos y becar a los estudiantes que están en un segundo idioma. Así que les pido, les suplico que busquen otra forma de cortar gastos la comunidad en realidad necesita una persona que sea la voz de los estudiantes.
I lost mom. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who lost.
No, I can't hear her either.
Señora, ¿nos podría repetir las últimas 5 frases del final? Se cortó su micrófono.
Ok, les pido buscar otra forma de cortar gastos. La comunidad en realidad necesita una persona que sea la voz de los estudiantes con los padres y los padres con el distrito.
Gracias. Good evening. I'm here also to request support for the ELD coordinator. I know that this coordinator was removed, and as a mother and as a US citizen and as a resident of this community for the past 26 years, I feel that is my right to request a representation for students that have a second language, students who have parents like me that like to get involved, and students that need to make a transition. Specifically, Ms. Tina at Mission Hills has been that person for us. And as I mentioned in my letter to the district, a lot of our EL students have been affected due to this pandemic. They had the need to stay home. And in my case, this teacher has provided support not only to my son, but also to my husband and myself. She provided support for our entire family. She provided different types of support, including psychological help. She also provides support by helping us organize events, different types of events, including events for fundraising, so we can provide scholarships for those students. And I just beg you to try to find other ways to cut in some other areas and not in this area. Our community needs representation, and our students, our EL families need this as well.
Thank you, Karina. We're going to try Ricardo Ramirez again. Ricardo, señor.
Señor Ramírez, su turno. Señor Ramírez, ¿nos escucha?
Okay, we'll move on to Fatima Ramirez.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Good evening. My name is Fatima Ramirez Estrada. I'm a current college student at Palomar College and studying communications. I'm about to finish my second year of college and transferring student to university. I graduated from Mission Hills High School in 2019. I came to the United States about 4 years ago without being fluent in English. It was one of the hardest experiences in my life, and I never thought I would have been able to be fluent in English in less than 2 years. The EL program was indispensable in this process. I don't know how I could have learned English without the company of other EL learners, but more importantly, with the help of Mrs. Hernandez, the EL coordinator at Mission Hills High School. She's one of the most hardworking and professional women I have ever known. She's always taking care of the EL students on their process and is able to help them in whatever they need. Without her, the EL program and the outstanding process of upcoming EL generation students will be at risk. Mission Hills and the San Marcos Unified School District in general has one of the best ELD and ELAC programs I know of, thanks to the effort and understanding of how challenging learning a new language can be, while adapting to a new school, culture, and learning environment. Thanks to the EL program, I was able to pursue a college education. In my senior year, thanks to the funding the EL program did throughout the year, I was awarded with a $1,000 scholarship and was able to cover any college expenses. The EL was a program and a community where I felt that I was being understood and we had all the support possible. When I came to Mission Hills, I started as a mentee in the EL program. And when I left Mission Hills, I left as a mentor and tutor to EL students who were in the same situation as I was. in the beginning who needed help in not just the language, but also in their classes, like biology, math, etc., who was even more challenging for those who were not just fluent in the subject, but also in the language. By doing this, it was a way for me to pay it forward and give the help that I was so blessed to receive. All of my friends from the EL program were also mentees and mentors. They also pay it forward, and it was so beautiful and fruitful to be able to share our experiences to those who were just beginning. There's nothing more comforting than being able to give at least something to something that has given you a lot. I cannot say thank you enough times to Ms. Hernandez and the EL program for giving me the tools to be where I am right now. I truly believe that the future kids and generations of EL students to come need and deserve the opportunity that I had. We are capable of huge things, but we're not able to achieve them without your support. Coming to a new country and learning a new language at the same time is a challenging experience, and the EL program with Mrs. Hernandez gave me the tools and the courage to not give up and be where I am. The future EL students can do it without them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Melissa Ortiz.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Melissa Ortiz, and tonight I'm urging the board to reinstate the high school English learner coordinator positions for next school year. The school board voted to cut these positions during last month's board meeting, and I'm very confused about why. I've been a teacher of English and ELD for 14 years. In the past, when I was teaching English learners in other districts, I was always spinning my wheels, trying out new strategies, looking for new resources, never knowing what anyone else was doing to support language learners, and always wondering if I was the only one doing anything to try and help English learners succeed. Then I came to San Marcos High School, and I remember meeting this person called the English Learner Coordinator, and I knew I'd found my people and a district that would prioritize English learners, recognizing that such a large campus needs not a list of tasks, but a system of communication and goals and progress monitoring. Many campuses have a few staff that make up their English learner team, but at San Marcos High School, the majority of our staff are tied to the EL program in some way, all outlined in a system developed by the EL coordinator. It's because of that system that I feel confident to be working together with colleagues to help English learners succeed. I don't spin my wheels alone anymore because I have the support of many other colleagues. That support system is 100% facilitated by the EL coordinator, and eliminating these positions means my colleagues and I will be back to spinning our wheels alone, wondering who's doing what and what's not getting done. I'm aware that some schools, some work for English learners is completed by administrators, typically what is required by law. Unfortunately, simply tacking on a few extra duties to a list of, say, an assistant principal, it's no substitute for what EL coordinators do at our high schools. We'll be losing out on their profound expertise and the supportive network that takes time to cultivate. And that's time that administrators typically don't have. And briefly, on the topic of equity, English learners, by their very definition, have yet to achieve proficiency. Many are struggling. So it's unconscionable that instead of offering English learners more support, the board has opted to provide less. Based on last month's board meeting, with all the talk of financial crisis, it seems pretty clear that eliminating these positions was a solely financial decision and nothing to do with what students actually need. If the school board truly believes in equitable outcomes for students, you will follow your new board policy that's featured in tonight's agenda on equity, in particular items 1, 2, 4, 8, and 9. And I'm confident you will find a continuing need for English learner coordinators at both high schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna try to Sophia Victorio.
Go Sophia! Go Sophia!
Sophia, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, go right ahead.
Ok, primero que nada, soy una aprendiz de inglés, entonces, señorita Karina, al final me podría ayudar con la traducción, por favor.
Claro que sí.
Ok, hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Sofía Victorio de San Marcos High School, voy en el grado 11. El día de hoy vengo a brindarles mi opinión sobre el trabajo y por qué la posición de Miss Peace como una maestra o coordinadora de soporte para nosotros es muy importante. Primero que nada, me gustaría que mencionar que yo como líder de la clase de Advisory, al igual que todos mis compañeros, nos sentimos inmensamente agradecidos por todo el apoyo que se nos ha brindado gracias a Miss Peace como coordinadora. Por otro lado, considero que Miss Peace es una excelente coordinadora y como lo mencionaba antes, mil gracias por todo el apoyo que se nos ha brindado. Pero antes recalcar que su trabajo se aprecia demasiado debido a que apoya a estudiantes que son nuevos aprendices del idioma lenguaje es el español, teniendo en cuenta que de Miss Peace su primer lenguaje es el inglés. Y aún así hace su mayor esfuerzo para ayudarnos en lo que necesitamos en nuestro lenguaje para que todo se nos haga un fácil, por lo que cual considero que se debe de valorar y admirar. Miss P siempre busca la manera para conectar con nosotros los estudiantes. Nos ayuda a ver que no solo por saber el inglés perfectamente, las puertas están cerradas para nosotros. Nos podemos poner metas y encontrar nuestra motivación para lograrlas. Se preocupa por nosotros y ella siempre busca la manera para que nosotros tengamos éxito, ya sea por medio de actividades, estrategias o simplemente una práctica inspiradora. Un ejemplo de lo antes mencionado es la clase de Advisory en la cual ella es la coordinadora y yo soy uno de los líderes. En esta clase asisten puros estudiantes nuevos al estado y por medio de actividades muy divertidas se acerca a nosotros los estudiantes para saber un poco más de cómo brindarnos ayuda, qué es lo que necesitamos tanto en lo académico como emocionalmente. Me gustaría agregar que admiro a Miss Peace porque ella siempre encuentra la manera para mantenernos motivados. Sin embargo, estoy consciente que ella tiene otras muchas cosas que hacer en su vida laboral como en su vida diaria, pero aún así se toma el tiempo de estar con nosotros para hablar sobre cómo nos sentimos, si hay algo en lo que necesitamos ayuda, si hay algo en lo que ella nos puede ayudar para que se nos facilite un poco más en lo que sea que estamos llevando a cabo durante clases. Como lo mencionaba antes, es algo que se debe de valorar debido a que le pone mucha dedicación. De nuevo, me gustaría decir que me siento muy agradecida por elegirme como una líder de la clase de Advisory. Eso me hace sentir que me dieron este puesto porque me cree capaz de poder con ello. Y también me ayuda a sentirme motivada a ser una mejor persona. En mi opinión, como estudiante, considero que es una excelente coordinadora. Siempre busca la manera para sacar lo mejor de nosotros. Ella es uno de los muchos coordinadores que yo considero que son un ejemplo a seguir. Por último, me gustaría decir que Miss Peace es una maestra, coordinadora, mamá que se debe de admirar y respetar por el gran trabajo que ella realiza. Muchas gracias.
First of all, I would like to mention that I'm an English language student at San Marcos High School in 11th grade. In my personal opinion, I'm here to provide support for Ms. Fritz, our leader. She is our EL coordinator, and she has made me our advisory leader. I'm very grateful for the support that she provides to us, and I just want to give 1,000 thanks to her for such an excellent work. She appreciates our learning, and she works with students that are new to the state. She is doing this in spite of the fact that English is her first language. So she's working with us who are Spanish speakers and are learning English. Her work is something that we need to value and we need to respect and admire. She's always trying to connect with us. She's always making sure that we understand then the fact that we are not perfect English speakers, but it does not mean that the doors are closed for us. She always wants to make sure that we have goals in life and that we are motivated. She puts in place a lot of fun activities and strategies, and sometimes even just a short talk, inspirational talk. It really helps. She provides support not only academically, but also emotionally. She is someone that always has many things. She has many things to do, but she always finds the time to motivate us and to make sure that she knows that we can count on her, and she's always there to provide help. She's extremely dedicated, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that she gave me to give me that leadership role in the advisory. She brings the best of me, and she always wants to make sure that we are always improving and become better people. And she's an example for all of us, and I'm very grateful for her work.
Thank you, Karina. Appreciate it. That's all we have for the time limit, Stacy.
Okay. Can we reach out to Mr. Ramirez and get his comment via email and have that sent to the board because he was having connectivity issues?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Can I just offer, one, I am incredibly thankful that we have had so many of our community members come out in support of our English learners. It is very important for us. One of the things I think I want to let people know is that in next month's meeting, we will be going into detail about our English learner plan, what are our current plans and what are our plans for 21, 22 and beyond, really to discuss how we have developed a district-wide coordination for our English learners so that we can offer support that is different, not less. I think you see 3 IS people here that are completely dedicated to our English learners. So we really want to be able to go into detail about how that plan is going to work as we move forward.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Yeah. I also want to thank the parents for speaking tonight and our translator. Quiero agradecer a los padres que hablaron esta noche para compartir sus ideas y también para hablar con nosotros sobre esta posición que se tiene que cortar. So, gracias por su apoyo de esta maestra y programa de aprendizaje de inglés. Thank you.
Okay, so let us move on to our action agenda. Item 9.1, this is the appointment of our new superintendent and approval of contract of employment for the superintendent. I would like to just give a brief intro for Dr. Johnson before I get into kind of the legalese that we need to get into for the motion, just because I'd like to introduce him to our community. We want to extend appreciation to Dr. Johnson and the other applicants. We had almost 40 applicants who showed an interest in this position. We also would like to express our gratitude to the San Marcos Unified employees, parents, community members, and our search advisors, Ms. Hempstead and Dr. Lovely, for their valuable feedback throughout this process. Finding an experienced superintendent with a proven track record of success was a universal desire expressed by every stakeholder group who provided input during our extensive search, and we really took to heart the input from our stakeholders. Dr. Johnson's career expands 27 years as a teacher, principal, director, assistant superintendent, and superintendent. He got his start as a teacher in Los Angeles Unified School District, where he made his way up to director of charter schools. Upon moving to San Diego, he was an award-winning principal at Poway Unified. He then led Lakeside's Educational Services Department as assistant superintendent before assuming the role of superintendent in Lakeside Union School District in 2017. Having worked in small, suburban, and urban districts makes him uniquely positioned for success in San Marcos. As a strong communicator and a fluent Spanish speaker, he brings a deep sense of inclusivity and insight to the role. Members of our board went to Lakeside and met with his board members, cabinet, union representatives, and parents and community members to learn more about Dr. Johnson. And the common thread that came from all groups is that Andy is a collaborator, a relationship builder, a communicator, and most importantly, that he puts students first. Dr. Johnson's ability to listen, build relationships, and bring people together are trademarks that will elevate San Marcos Unified School District's mission to ensure that all students are challenged, inspired, and poised to excel. so excited to have you all meet him in a minute once we get to our vote. So here we go. On Friday, April 16th, the district announced that following an in-depth recruitment, interview, and vetting process, the governing board was preparing to approve the employment contract for Dr. Andy Johnson as our next superintendent. Dr. Johnson is currently the superintendent in Lakeside Union School District in East San Diego County, and we are excited to have Dr. Johnson join our team. He's a well-regarded superintendent, and the board is confident that Dr. Johnson will find success and be a calming force in San Marcos for our staff and our community. We announced that Dr. Johnson's employment contract would be approved at this board meeting and that he would officially begin his position on July 1st. Government Code Section 54953 requires the governing board, prior to taking final action on an employment agreement, to orally report a summary of a recommendation for salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits for local agency executives. The district superintendent is a local agency executive, and a proposed contract with Dr. Johnson is before us this evening. The proposed contract specifies that the superintendent's salary will be $275,000 annually. It includes a salary schedule with an advancement following school years during which Dr. Johnson receives a positive evaluation, and includes equity clauses for future raises, salary schedules, freezes, or furlough days. The proposed contract further specifies that the district shall provide the superintendent with the same fringe benefits as provided to other certificated management employees of the district. Compensation in the form of fringe benefits includes district-provided health insurance, statutory employer contributions towards the state or California State Teachers Retirement System, term life insurance, and automobile allowance of $600 per month in lieu of mileage reimbursement, 12 days of annual sick leave, and 26 days of annual vacation leave. The district will also pay the superintendent's membership dues at the Association of California School Administrators, the American Association of School Administrators, and any other professional or local service organization or local service club approved by the board. So let's make this official. Do I have a motion for appointment of the superintendent and approval of the employment contract for the superintendent?
I would like to motion to approve.
I will second. Moved by Carlos, seconded by myself to approve the employment contract as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Congratulations and welcome, Dr. Johnson. Can you give us a brief introduction and say hello to everyone?
Sure, thank you very much. I just have a couple words very quickly. I just wanted to express my gratitude to the Board of Trustees. I am very excited to be joining such an exceptional team and such an exceptional school district, and to have the opportunity and the privilege to serve the San Marcos community. This really is, for me, a once-in-a-career opportunity, and I'm very excited to join the team. I will also say that I recognize that through the past year, the pandemic has really been hard on all of us. But I'm very much looking forward to coming on board in July and working collaboratively with our families and our staff and our students to chart a path forward. And if it's okay, I'd like to address the board in Spanish very briefly. I know we have some Spanish speakers on the call. Would that be okay?
Yes, thank you.
Sí, primero quiero darle las gracias a la mesa directiva. Para mí realmente es un honor, un gran honor, haber sido seleccionado para trabajar con este equipo tan excelente y en un distrito escolar tan excelente y para servir a la comunidad de San Marcos. También sé que este año escolar ha sido difícil para todos nosotros con la pandemia, pero aún así espero con mucha emoción comenzar a trabajar con las familias, con el personal y con los alumnos para seguir adelante. Así que, bueno, con eso espero conocerlos muy pronto y comenzar en julio. So thank you very much to the Board of Trustees. I'm very excited for this opportunity, and I can't wait to get started in July.
Thank you so much. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Okay. Item number 9.2, review of the 2019-20 Prop K audit. Mr. Taylor?
As I guess the chairman of the Independent Citizens Oversight Committee mentioned earlier in the meeting, there is a requirement that for a major building program, for a major bond initiative, that there is an independent audit, and that the district hire an outside entity, an outside audit firm to come in to audit the program. We do, I think, have Mr. Don Whitehouse available from our audit firm to kind of walk us through the audit. It's a good audit, no findings. So that's always a good news story. So with that, Mr. Whitehouse.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here. We concluded our audit of the district's Proposition K Bond Building Fund. I will first go into an overview of the audit scope and then touch base on our opinions. Our audit responsibility is to plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free of material misstatement. In order to obtain reasonable assurance, our bond audit consists of the following areas. We start by planning the audit to gain an understanding of the client and its environment, including its internal controls, by assessing risks of material misstatement and designing our test of controls. We then document and tested internal controls related to the bond in such areas as purchasing/cash disbursements, payroll, and construction management. We conducted fraud risk interviews with selected management and staff. And finally, we tested all June 30, 2020 balance sheet and income statement accounts, such as cash, accounts receivable, accounts payable, along with revenues and expenditures for the Proposition K Bond Building Fund. The results of our audit tests are reflected in the independent auditor's reports and summary of auditor's results. Overall, we opined on the financial statements and the performance audit, both of which were given unmodified opinions for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2020. An unmodified opinion is what we consider to be a clean opinion. It's the best opinion you can receive from an external audit firm. With that, any questions in regarding the audit for 2020?
No, I think we are ready to move forward. Let's see. Do I have a motion to approve the 2019-20 Prop K audit?
I'll move to approve.
I heard Sydney move. I didn't hear who seconded it.
I'll second it.
Okay, I didn't see who that was. Sorry.
Jamie.
Jamie, okay. Moved by Sydney, seconded by Jamie to approve the Prop K audit as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.3, resolution number 54-2021, resolution of the governing board of the San Marcos Unified School District making certain findings concerning the San Marcos Unified School District Measure Citizens Oversight Committee, dissolving the Measure K Citizens Oversight Committee, thanking Measure K committee members for their service, and taking related actions.
So again, President Paulson, this is a sequence of events as it relates to our building program, Proposition K, and also our Independent Citizens Oversight Committee. And so this item, this resolution, is asking the board to essentially dissolve the committee and essentially thank them for the hard work that spanned over 11 years.
I would like to add on because I have seen the work of this committee over the past 11 years, and I don't think I can say thank yous big enough to the committee. It has been a behind the scenes and often thankless job. I think it's kind of one of those things you don't even think about. But this group, the members have changed every so often, but they have done such amazing work for our district, just to make sure that we are in a right place. Our monies were spent as they should be. So we are incredibly thankful. We will have little gifts to send out. It's Zoom, so it's so weird that we don't have in front of us. But we do want to say, I will say, for all those of us who are kind of old school in the district, thank you so much to our oversight committee over Prop K. Thank you.
That was great. I couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Tiffany. Okay, do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 54-2021?
I'll move to approve.
I will second. Okay, all right. Moved by Cindy, seconded by Jamie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And Stacy, I'm sorry, I'm having hard times hearing who's voting. And
I am too, and I can't see.
I mean, I'm not getting the correct votes.
Okay. So that was moved by Sydney and seconded by Jamie, and I'll try and do better at it. Okay.
So Sarah, I can't hear you at all. I don't know if there's something with your microphone or.
She's on mute right now.
Something going in and out with my microphone. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 9.4, public hearing. This is the initial proposal of the San Marcos Unified School District to the California School Employees Association and its San Marcos Chapter 413. The public hearing is now open. Dana, is there anyone who wishes to speak?
There were no requests to speak.
Okay, this public hearing is now closed. 9.5, initial proposal of the San Marcos Unified School District to the California School Employees Association and its San Marcos Chapter 413. Do I have a motion to approve the proposal of the San Marcos Unified School District to the California School Employees Association and its San Marcos Chapter 413? Student board members, say your vote. Oh dear. Okay.
Oh, there she is, but
there she is. Okay. Is this something that they would vote on typically? Actually?
We haven't ever done it before, but you know, they voted on other things. I'm not sure. So
okay.
Henry, any advice on that one or?
Yeah, you know what? I believe that the last time we were sunshining, as I recall, we weren't having student board members vote at that time. So just from my perspective anyway, I would welcome Chanel's input on this. And I think there's no reason why she couldn't express her opinion on this.
Perfect. Okay. All right, we're good. Okay.
Sorry, my sister came in. Like, that was my bad. I'm so sorry.
Okay, don't worry about it. Okay. Did I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Sydney. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Sydney, seconded by Carlos. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 9.6, public hearing. Initial proposal of the California School Employees Association and its San Marcos Chapter 413 to the San Marcos Unified School District. This public hearing is now open. Dana, is there anyone who wishes to speak?
There were no requests to speak to this item.
Okay, this public hearing is now closed. 9.7. Initial proposal of the California School Employees Association and its San Marcos Chapter 413 to the San Marcos Unified School District. Do I have a motion to approve the initial proposal of California School Employees Association?
I'll move to approve.
Any seconds?
I will second.
Okay.
Jamie.
Okay, moved by Sydney. I'm going back and forth between scripts and scripts, so I can't see who's talking. So, okay.
Second.
Okay, moved by Sydney, seconded by Jamie. To approve the initial proposal as presented. School board representatives, please say your vote.
Aye.
Board members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries. 9.8, public hearing, school facilities needs analysis of the San Marcos Unified School District dated March 18th, 2021. This public hearing is now open. Dana, is there anyone who wishes to speak?
There is no request to speak.
Okay, this public hearing is now closed. 9.9, Resolution 57-2021, Resolution of the Governing Board of the San Marcos Unified School District approving a school facilities needs analysis, adopting alternative school facilities fees in compliance with Government Code Section 65995.5, 65995.6, and 65995.7, adopting response to public comments received and making related findings and determinations. Was this going to get introduced or no?
President Carlson, I can talk to the item.
Okay.
So school districts are required to collect developer fees, and developer fees are when there are major developments within the school district boundary, and the developers are required to pay the fee to help with school infrastructure needs. So there are 3 levels of fees: a level 1 fee, level 2 fee, and level 3 fee. And so in order to be eligible for a level 2 fee, a higher fee to help with school infrastructure needs, school districts are required to do what's called a school facility needs analysis. And what's in front of you tonight is that analysis, and we're asking you to approve that along with the appropriate level 2 developer fees, which is about $4.38. So that's what we're asking tonight, to approve the SFNA, school facility needs analysis, and also the fees, the level 2 developer fees, to help with school infrastructure needs.
Great. Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 57-2021?
Move to adopt.
I'll second.
Moved by Cindy, seconded by Carlos. Student board representatives, please say your vote.
Aye.
Board members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda for discussion purposes?
I will move to approve the consent agenda. Just to monopolize the amount of motions I can make.
You're a mover and a shaker, Sydney, tonight.
You need a second.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Sydney, seconded by Jamie. I think we're tired. To approve the consent agenda for discussion purposes. Is there any discussion? Okay. Moved by Sydney, seconded by Jamie. Student board representatives, please say your vote.
Aye.
Board members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, informational items. Item 11.1, summary financial statement from March 2021. You're up again.
This is a standard item that we submit to the board just to give you an update as to where we are financially. And the numbers are what they are. They're pretty straightforward, nothing out of the ordinary. We are identifying at this point things that we don't, where we can save some funding. We are also in the middle of preparing our 3rd interim and also in the middle of preparing next year's budget. So these actuals for this year will be very important, and we're making, I would say, significant progress towards closing out the end of the year.
Great, thank you. Did anyone have any questions on that? All right, closing items. The next regular board meeting of the governing board will take place on Tuesday, May 4th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone. That was a difficult meeting. Thank you for staying, for those who are still here. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.